what am I talking about? A good fit. Well, we have spoken about before. You've got to fit your research into the strategic needs of the funder. You must demonstrate that these work. And we've talked about almost plagiarizing their words. Not plagiarizing, using their words. And to show that you've thought. And you've got to make it very clear, abundantly clear, that your research will meet their requirements. So here's an example. The D.G. Murray Trust. Before applying for funding, please familiarize yourself with our strategic interests. So they say it up front. And they give you a website, you go and find their strategic interests, and you show how your research delivers on them. Carnegie Transformation Goal. We had this grant at WITS at one stage, to train and retain a new generation of academics, etc., etc. Be sure that you're talking about that in your grant. Don't start with my research. Start with their strategic need, and then show how your research will deliver on that. Get it that way around. Does that make sense? When a funder makes a decision, what they are doing is balancing risk and reward. So imagine yourself, you have 100 Rand in your pocket, and you're making the decision, are you going to give it to somebody? All right. I think you would go through this thinking. You would balance risk and reward. What is the risk? The risk associated with investing in somebody else's research, and there might be no return. So the risk is that I give it away and nothing happens with it. Now, maybe it's not so much 100 Rand might not be that important to you. But imagine the NRF's budget is about 2.5 billion Rand. So that's a lot of money to waste and have no return for it, okay? No benefit from it. The reward on the other side of the equation is the return on investment. Now that's a very banker, investor type terminology, but even in funding research, we require a return. What do we mean by a return? It's something, it might be fairly intangible, like new knowledge or trained students or capable researchers, but those are the things that the NRF is looking for. So can you see it's that balance between the risk of it not happening and the reward, okay? They're constantly making that decision. So there's a picture. There's a $1 bill in that mousetrap. So that's worth 14 Rand. Is it worth the risk to go and grab that $1 bill? Only you would be able to make that decision. How can we influence that equation to our benefit? First, we need to reduce the risk as much as possible in our proposals, in our applications. How do we do that? One way is to demonstrate your track record. I have done this research before. I have produced outputs from this type of research. That track record is very, very powerful. When you go to the dentist, do you go to a well-established dentist, or do you go to somebody on the side of the road? Hey? Yeah, you would rather go to somebody who really has a track record of good looking after teeth and not causing pain and whatnot. So track record is very important. What happens if you're fairly early career and you don't have a track record? Does that mean you can never get a grant? No. Collaborate with people who have a track record. Collaboration is one way to leverage another person's track record. Make it clear your supervisor, your team member, these people are really good at what this research is all about. So they are able to deliver together with you. So track record or collaboration, very important. Be careful with collaboration though, don't name drop. So don't just write down a string of names that are really top people and no sense of what they're doing. So the example there is Albert Einstein, fantastic physicist. Not so productive these days, but I'm going to collaborate with him. So that would be, silly. Eh? But we do it all the time. We tend to name drop. So you never want to do that. You want to say, I'm working with this person, and this is what they're going to do on my grant. So remember, as much as possible, I want to be specific. Never talking grants, general things. Remember, we're talking about research outputs, name them and target journal, all of that. Here's another specific thing. I'm going to work with this person and they're going to do this on my project. So it's very specific. And if you can get a letter from them to say, I know about this grant and yes, I'm going to be doing this on the project, all the better. You attach that to your application. An attachment, very, very important. Okay. The next way to reduce risk is to plan carefully. And we're going to spend quite a bit of time on planning. So one of the big criteria that all funders, the MRC is another example of a funder that uses feasibility as a criteria. They want to know that you can deliver on the research that you are proposing. Feasible, how feasible it is. My example here often is, in the world of HIV, if I came up with a research project that promises to find a cure, not a treatment, a cure for HIV, surely that's a weighty subject, and surely people will fund that. Yes, maybe, but in my plan, I say I'll do it by Wednesday next week. Is that feasible? No. Would you invest your money if it's your own money? No, I don't think you would take that risk. Not feasible. How do you demonstrate something's feasible? You plan it really carefully. All right, and we'll talk about what that means in a moment. On the other hand, do not promise excessively. Do not overpromise and underdeliver. All right? Because hopefully you're going to be going back to this funder over and over again, developing that relationship. Remember we talked about the relationship with your funder. And if you keep on doing that, promise X, Y, and Z and only deliver X, then you've got a problem. Okay? So that's how you reduce risk. How do you increase the reward? Identifying the deliverables. Flag. Remember the flagging? Make sure that you tell people exactly what it is you're going to deliver. And be specific. Remember, 2 papers. Working title, targeted journal. All right? Very important. Be specific. And flag it. Make sure that everybody can see. They might have a heading, expected outputs. Make sure your outputs match their expectations. Focus on the funder's needs and describe your track record. Balance between risk and reward. Does that make sense? Okay.